Greetings, kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to our World of Darkness and another playlist of Level by Level. And in this playlist, we're going to be handling Fortitude, Vampiric Toughness and Resistance, also known as Bricking Up, Stone Flesh, or Resistencia. I have never heard it called that before, but I guess if that's what they want to say in V5, that is what they will say in V5. So, what clans are known to have Fortitude? Well, we're going to be looking into Gangrel. Gangrel typically have it. Ventru are very known for having it, and also the Salubri. Salubri are known. And in past editions, other clans such as the Ravno and things like that had this as well, but it does not seem to be as popular. However, I do think that after a little while, all vampires should gain some form of this ability. In fact, the ability to heal the way that vampires do just kind of, to me at least, says that they have some form of fortitude. But I do want to point out that I love the fact that fortitude in this system tends to split in multiple directions. Two distinct paths, and that is the toughness of the body and the resilience of the mind. You can actually use fortitude to stop yourself from being swayed in one direction or the other, and I love that. I love the fact that they added that. Now, the first thing that I want to do and go over with fortitude, aside from the basic information, is the resonance. What kind of blood do most vampires consume when they are going to be practicing fortitude? And that is melancholic blood. Now, to go into the details of melancholic blood, the element that it is most associated with is earth, so it's grounded, it's subdued when it comes to that. The Jungian function is thinking. It is taking the time to handle processes. The hormone is the thyroid, and the emotions and conditions attached to this are sad, scared, intellectual, depressed, and grounded. These are, it makes a lot of sense when you stop and think about it. These are attributes that really do describe what the fortitude discipline is all about, is holding things back, keeping things internal. The other discipline that this resonance picks up on is obfuscate, strangely enough. And I love the fact that that those two really do blend in well together. The fortitude, the ability to take things, and then obfuscate, the ability to just kind of blend into the background and to be ignored. Now, if you are feeding that, obviously you're going to have a predator type of some sort, and the predator type associated with this, or I should say the predator types associated with this, are going to start with consensualists in the core book. And just as a brief overview, it does say that this kindred never feeds against the victim's will. This may or may not include breaking the masquerade by disclosing to them that they are in fact a vampire. So you can see where this is going to be a little bit of an issue, but consensualists tend to have access to fortitude quite often. The next one, which actually shows up in cults of the blood gods, is going to be the grave robber. And grave robbers often feed from fresh corpses, though they actually prefer feeding from the living mourners in cemeteries or mentally agitated visitors and patients in hospitals. So you can see where that does make a lot of sense. I love also when you stop and think about these things, like a consensualist, you're looking at possibly clan Salubri, which naturally tend to learn fortitude. The grave robber is something that you might be able to think of a harbinger of skulls or a Cappadocian to do, and therefore fortitude again is one of their natural sets of discipline that they tend to get. We're also looking at the interesting one called the roadside killer. This kindred feeds exclusively from transient population, from truckers, tourists, and travelers of the world. They also tend to learn these things, and that sounds a lot like Clan Gangrel when you really stop and think about it. Then there's the Siren, and this kindred feeds almost exclusively during sex or while feigning sex, relying on disciplines, seduction skills, or the appetites of the other to conceal their own nature. So those are going to be the kind of things I'm actually kind of interested on why that would be. I guess they're trying to fit that in with like maybe the Ventru when it comes to being a siren who has to feed off that specific type. But I guess a Toreador could actually fit into that category too, even though they typically do not have Fortitude. Now, when we get further into Fortitude, we have to really take into consideration what it does, and it is the ability to protect yourself. So let's go ahead and get right into what the book has to say about Fortitude and what it can be used for. Much prized by immortals, Fortitude grants the ability to resist physical and mental assault. Few vampires survive longer than a century without at least a mote of fortitude, especially in a world where violence is common and not even kindred are safe. In these nights, fewer vampires use Fortitude to resist the sun than they do to withstand violent harm, fire, and supernatural coercion. Those possessing Fortitude exemplify the solid pillars of kindred society, able to withstand blows and charms without movement or sign of dilapidation. Few vampires feel as secure in their immortality as do the Elder Bluebloods and the Ferals, so the Ventru and the Gangrel. So I really do enjoy the way that it is described here, that it's used to not just protect against physical assault, because in the older systems that's exactly what it did. It only protected against the physical without having special abilities such as combo disciplines and the like. Fortitude was just to protect the body. Now, the characteristics of this discipline are quite common sense when you really stop and think about it. The type is physical, although when you think about it, it could very well be mental, depending on what type of discipline you've actually taken on this one. The masquerade threat is medium. Eyewitnesses undoubtedly react upon someone taking a terminal beating or a hail of bullets and getting back up seemingly unhurt. Favorite cover-up explanations include erroneous recollection. In the excitement, the bullets only seemed to hit, kind of thing. Special effects like a YouTube prank, or the tried and tested he must have been on PCP rationale. These, I mean, you got to be really careful. You can't get hit by a bus and just walk away. Blood resonance, like we said before, is melancholic. So survivors of war, abuse, or misfortune, endurance runners, mountain climbers, infantry, and special forces, those with very powerful immune systems. So, I mean, yeah, that does kind of make a lot of sense. So, Fortitude really has come into its own when it comes to this, and I cannot wait to go over all of the individual powers that this discipline has to offer, because it really is one of those, if you're going to last a long time, you might want to find out some way to get it. Make friends with a Gangrel. Make deals with a Ventru. Do something. Fortitude is one of those disciplines that seems to, over time, eventually become important to have. I am Voivode Maquette. This is Our World of Darkness and the overview episode of Level by Level Fortitude 101. Class dismissed.